Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cashell. I'm from the Apex Group, an organization that's gone through considerable change over the last few years. And they've asked me to moderate a session. There's 8 very highly experienced, very knowledgeable people that you all have the opportunity to learn from this afternoon. From different industries, different kinds of change, and obviously at the center of it is people. So I want to introduce the panel. One thing I will say is that when they asked me to moderate, I didn't realize that when I was coming to Bulgaria, sometimes those names aren't as easy. Okay, so I'm going to do my best, okay, to introduce these people, and they're going to come up in order. So first, Biljana, who is the Information Technology Solutions Operations and Corporate Sophia Lead for the World Bank or Group. Next is Kat. She told me I could say Kat because it was easier. Next is Kat, who's the Managing Director of IT at Flatex de Giro. Next is Mario, who's the General Manager of Global Delivery for Bulgaria for HP Enterprise. Next, Victor, who's a co-founder and board member at Scale Focus. Monica, next, is the Chief Operations Expert and member of the Supervisory Board, SAP. I'm not sure, Jezu is here? Okay, next is Vradko, who is the site leader of Sofia Business Center at the Sensata Technologies. Oh. Thank goodness we found everyone, okay? So, as a way of introducing this, I've spoken on this for many, many years in terms of change management. And what I'll say to people is, when you're project managers, you're implementing a project, some kind of solution, you've worked hard to make sure you can get that delivered, hopefully within the timelines, hopefully in scope, hopefully in or under budget. All that hard work has gone into driving that project, and all of a sudden, weeks and months after you've implemented a solution, it's still not being used properly. You're not seeing the benefits coming out of it. And so we can't just tick the box to say it was done on time and on scope and on budget. We have to look at it and go, how can we make it more successful? Well, one of the main reasons it isn't is because we haven't managed the people side of things. We haven't got people to accept the change that inevitably happens when we introduce something new. Everything we do as projects, that's the definition, is unique, so it's different. So what we have to do is bring people along in terms of that journey. People don't like to change. None of us like to change, but sometimes we have to. In fact, one of the reasons I was deliberately going to take my glasses out, because when I used to do these presentations pre-pandemic, I didn't need them. I'm still in denial. Okay, I'm not managing the change very well because they're here, but they're not going on at the moment. Thank you. So what I'm trying to do is we all have to go through this change. Okay, and we have to bring people along with us. If you ask organizations that are going through large transformations, they'll say that they failed 72% of the time because of employee resistance and management not getting it, okay? Our opportunity is to actually bring people along and drive and lead how we bring that change, because if we do that correctly, you will get 4 times the benefit from these large transformations. 4 times, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times the benefit if you do and manage that change. So we have to remember that when we're putting in these projects. And that means reinventing ourselves as project managers. As I said, I did this years ago. The presentation said, how can I add value as a project manager, because ultimately people see us as a cost. You're an overhead to the organization. You have to turn the conversation around and become value add. And by bringing your people change management skills to the way you deliver projects will actually deliver the value, and therefore you'll cross the aisle into the other side of the equation, the financial equation. You will no longer be seen as a cost. You'll be seen as a value to the organization. So you have to embrace this change. You have to reinvent yourselves as project managers to have this as a skill. And it's not always about putting a communication plan together. That's simple. It's actually about understanding people and how they change over time and how you can bring them along that journey. We can plan for that, but we've got to execute on it as well. The last thing I'll say is, when you're in an organization, which all of you are, and there's a large amount of change happening, we also have to think about the portfolio management side of it, because everyone is trying to implement more and more change. Well, part of what we do is looking at that big picture. So I was moderating another session a few weeks ago, and I told people I learned one thing at a conference. I'm lucky, I learned one thing at a conference, okay? And someone stood up and said, if you go to an organization and say, what are they doing? How are they changing? How are they driving forward? What's their vision? A lot of people go, well, I'm going to go and grab the strategy document. But that strategy document is just a piece of paper. Do you know what's changing the organization? Your project portfolio, because that's where the money's going. And it's our job to help the organization align the project portfolio with their strategy and make sure the money is being spent in the right areas to help change the organization. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be the really easiest moderation I've ever done, because there's 8 people and we have less than an hour. I've told them to talk for as long as they like so that I don't have to ask any more questions. Okay? We'll see how it goes. Okay?